Hello dear students, how are you all? I hope you all have completed the question and answers of chapter number 4 metals and non-metals in your fair copy. Now we will start with chapter number 9 force and pressure. So what is force? In our day-to-day life we perform a number of activities like pushing to open a door, kicking a football, lifting a pen. All this require an external agent in the form of force. So this external agent change the position of an object. That is, this external agent, that is force, either bring a object to motion or bring an object to rest. That means if we want to stop any moving object, we apply force, or if we want to move any object, if you want to move a chair from one place to another, you have to apply force. So we can say that force is an external agent in the form of push or pull, which changes or tends to change the position of rest, that means no movement, or of uniform motion of a body. Okay. In simple definition, we can say that force is the push or pull on an object. So what is push? Push when we apply force away from us, like this man is pushing a car. The direction of the force is away from the man, so that is called as push. And pull when we apply force towards us. This man is dragging the cart towards himself, so this is a pull. So two kinds of force, push or pull. A force is the push or pull on an object. Okay, the SI unit of force is Newton. Okay, it is based on the name of the scientist Newton. SI here stands for Standard International System. In the Standard International System of unit, the unit of force is Newton. There are other units of force as well, which are dyne, kilogram force and pound force. Now children, here are two important aspects of force, that is the magnitude of force and direction of force. Magnitude of force means the amount of force applied to an object. That means, see, this man in the first picture is pushing the car. If he apply a little force, a little push, the car will not move from its place because the car is too heavy. So in order to move the car from one place to another, this man has to apply much greater force. Okay, so how much force we put on an object affects the object. So the amount of force applied is called the magnitude. So in the first picture, the magnitude of force will be much higher. Second important thing is the direction in which the force is applied. So if you want to kick a football, you have to first decide the direction. If the direction of kicking will be wrong, then the football will go in the wrong direction. Now, what is the cause of a force? Whenever a force is applied, there is interaction between two bodies. So, whenever there is an interaction between two bodies, force is applied. Okay. In other words, we can say that an interaction between at least two bodies is necessary for the application of force. Without the interaction of two bodies, force cannot be applied. See, an interaction of one object on another object results in a force between the two objects. Example here, if a man stands behind a car, the car does not move. If he pushes the car, he applies force and the car begins to move in the direction of the applied force. Okay, if the man just go and stand behind the car, there is no interaction between the man and the car will not move. In order to move the car, the man has to apply force. So there is an interaction between two bodies, that is man and the car, to have the application of force. When two or more forces are involved, the strength of the force depends on the direction of each of the forces as well as the magnitude. Okay, so in the first picture, when we say here only one force is involved, that is the man pushing the car. But when two forces are involved, then the strength of the force, that is the total force, will depend on which direction the force is highest and the amount of force applied. Okay, you will understand this clear in the next picture. When the two or more forces are applied in the same directions, they get add together. Whereas when the forces are in the opposite direction, the net force, that is the total force, is the difference of the forces. So if you have to move a chair, okay, from one place to another, so two persons are applying force in the same direction, then the chair will move easily, because the double the force is applied on the chair and it will easily slide from one direction to another. But if two students are applying force on the chair in opposite direction, one student is pushing the chair from left to right, and at the same time the other student is pushing the chair in the direction right to left. In that case, in which direction the chair will move will depend on the difference of the forces. That means which student will be applying the highest force. In that case, that chair will move in that direction. For example, the second student which is applying the force in from left to right direction, suppose if that force is more than the first student who is applying force in left to right direction, in that case the chair will move easily from right to left, because the second student is applying more force than the first student. You will get this clear in the next picture. Here see, when we play tug of war, these mans are playing tug of war and they are pulling the rope. Okay, so here the force is in from right to left, and here the force is in the opposite direction. So where will the rope move will depend on the extra agent who is pulling the rope. Here are two persons, here are three persons. These two persons will balance each other, but the third person, in this case at the left hand side there are three persons, so here the force will be more. In that case the rope will move in their direction. In second case, as I told you, this is a table. This man is applying the force in this direction and the second man is applying force in the opposite direction. Since both the magnitude of both the forces are equal, so the table is not moving from its position. But if the magnitude of, say, any one person's force, let's say this person's force is more than this person, in that case the table will move in this directions. Okay, now here these two persons, now they are applying the force in the same direction, so easily the table will move in this direction. From this it is clear that force depends on the magnitude and the direction of force, in which direction we are applying the force and how much magnitude of the force is there. Okay, and the force is always will be there when there will be an interaction between two bodies. Now, what are the effects of force on an object? When a force acts on a body, it may have any one of the following or more than one of the following effects. First is, force can make an object to move from rest. For example, a table is there, and if we want to move it, we have to apply force to it. Okay. Force can stop a moving object. Now, while playing cricket, if the player wants to stop the ball, what he needs to do is he needs to apply force on the ball to stop it. So in order to stop anything, also we need to apply force. Force can change the speed of an object if it is moving. Now, when you are driving a car and if you need to slow down the speed, what you will do? You will apply brakes to the car. So, what will happen is, when you apply brake, a force acts on the four wheels of the car, due to which the car slows down. So, force can change the speed of an object. Next is, force can change the direction of motion of an object. While playing tennis, what the tennis player do? When one player with the racket throws the ball to the next player, what the next player do is, next player with the racket hits the ball and changes the direction of the ball. Okay. Similarly, if you want to kick the football and if you want to change the direction of motion of the football, you need to apply force. So force can change the direction of a motion of an object. Last is, force can change the shape of an object. So this can be easily understood by the shape of the dough. Okay, when your mother make chapati, she kneads the dough. So when she applies force with her wrist, what happens? The shape of the dough changes. Similarly, when she rolls over the chapati, so when she apply force on the chapati, what happens is the shape of the chapati changes. When you press the sponge, when you apply force on the sponge, the shape of the sponge changes. Okay, so force can change the shape of an object. Now, these changes can be temporary or permanent. Temporary changes can be said as when you press the sponge with your hand, what happens? Temporarily the shape changes, but when you release the force, again the sponge returns to its original position. So that's a temporary change. Permanent change can be said when you break a piece of chalk. What happens? The shape of chalk changes. Now it is smaller than its original size. So that's a permanent change. You cannot make the chalk again go back to its earlier size. Okay, so the shape changes due to force can be temporary or permanent. Now children, there is an example given in your book. When you throw an object, say a ball, in the upward direction, the object goes up to a certain maximum height where its speed becomes 0. That means when you throw a ball upwards, what happens? Initially the speed of the ball is highest. Okay, but as the ball goes up, the speed decreases and at one point the speed of the ball becomes 0. When the speed of the ball becomes 0, then it falls down towards the earth because the force of gravity of the earth. As it falls, the speed of the ball again increases because this time it is moving in the direction of force of gravity. So this shows that in order to make a body move faster, the force must be applied in the direction of motion. And to decrease the speed of the body, the applied force must be in the direction opposite to the direction of motion. Okay, so when you are throwing the ball upwards, what happens? Initially the speed is highest, but as it goes upward the speed goes on decreasing, and at a point the speed becomes 0. Now when the speed becomes 0, what happens? The ball comes down. Now when the ball is coming downwards, the motion of the ball is from up to down. This is the direction of the motion. Okay, and in this direction, up to down also, there is one more force acting on the ball, that is the force of gravity. So since the force of gravity is acting in the direction of the motion of the ball, okay, since it is acting in the direction of motion of the ball, what happens? The speed of the ball is increases. So in order to increase the speed of the object, what we have to do is we have to apply the force in the direction of motion of the object. But in the first case, when we are throwing the ball upward, what we are doing? The force of gravity is in the downward direction, but we are applying the force on the ball opposite to the force of gravity, that is from down to up. So in this case, what happens? The speed of the ball is decreasing. So in order to decrease the speed of the object, what we need to do is we need to apply the force opposite to the direction of motion. Okay, and in order to increase the speed, we have to apply the force in the direction of motion. So children, this is all about effects of force. You have to remember that force can change the speed of the object, force can change the size or shape of the object, or force can change the direction of motion also. Okay, force can also make an object, moving object, stop, and force can make a stationary object move also. These are the effects of force. Now we will study about the different types of forces. We have studied that the cause of force is the interaction between two or more objects. Based on that interaction, what type of interaction is that? There are two kinds of forces, contact forces and non-contact forces. Contact forces means force which can be applied only when it is in contact with the object. So when the two objects are in contact with each other, okay, when the two objects are touching each other, then that type of force will be contact force. And when the two objects are not in contact with each other, they are not touching each other, but they are influencing each other, in that case that force will be a non-contact force. Examples of contact forces: muscular force, frictional force, mechanical force. And non-contact forces are magnetic force, electrostatic force, and gravitational force. We will study all these forces one by one. So first we will start with non-contact forces. Under non-contact forces, the first is magnetic force. Okay, you all have seen a magnet. Okay, and you also know that a magnet attracts magnetic substances like iron towards itself. The force of attraction between a magnet and magnetic materials like iron, nickel is called magnetic force. So here, when you place a magnet near iron objects like nails, what happens is the nails get attracted towards the magnet. The magnet applies magnetic force on the iron objects. With that force, the magnet attracts the iron objects towards itself. So in this case, you can see is you need not to bring the magnet and the iron object in contact with each other. The magnet and the iron objects, they don't touch each other. Without touching each other, only when you place a magnet just near to the nail, without touching the nail, what will happen? A magnetic force will be applied on the nail. With that force the iron nails will be attracted towards the magnet. Okay. This magnetic force is used in cranes to lift heavy loads, to separate iron objects from garbage, etc. Next non-contact force is gravitational force. What is gravitational force? Gravitational force is the force exerted by the earth on all objects. It pulls all objects towards the earth. What happens when we throw a ball up in the air? As we have seen before, what happens? The ball, once it reaches the speed of 0, it will again come back to the ground. Okay, when you slip off, when a coin or pen slip off from your hand, what happens? It falls on the ground. When you throw a ball upwards, the ball again come back to the ground. Leaf, fruits all fall to the ground when they are detached from the plant. Water in rivers flows in downward direction. So why everything falls towards the ground, towards the earth? This is due to the gravitational force, which is the force exerted by the earth on all objects. Okay, because of this, all objects are attracted towards the earth. Whatever you will throw up in the air will automatically come down due to the gravitational force exerted by the earth. Okay, also when you drop anything, it will fall to the ground only. It will not fly up in the air. Okay, here also the earth and the object are not in contact with each other, then too the earth is applying gravitational force to the object. So this is also a type of non-contact force. Now the third type of non-contact force is electrostatic force. What is electrostatic force? Electrostatic force is the force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body. Okay. Example, a plastic straw charged by rubbing with paper attracts suspended plastic straw. See here, a plastic straw charged by rubbing with papers repels a suspended charge by rubbing with paper. Here, what happens is, this is a straw which is suspended by a stand. This plastic straw which is suspended in the stand, this is uncharged. Okay, now to this plastic straw, when we bring another plastic straw which is charged by rubbing with paper, this plastic charged straw, when we bring close to this uncharged straw, what will happen? They both will attract each other, okay, due to electrostatic force. In the second case, now when we place this charged when we place this charged plastic straw on this stand, okay, so this is already having a charge, and when we bring another charged plastic straw close to this straw, what will happen? They both will repel each other. Repelling each other means they both will move away from each other, okay, because they both carry similar charge. And in the first case, they will both attract each other. They will both move each other, because in the first case, one straw is uncharged and another straw is charged, so they are attracting each other. And in the second case, both are having the same charge, so they both are repelling each other. So this attraction and repulsion force is due to the electrostatic force. When you comb your dry hair for few seconds and then hold the comb over your head, what you see is your hair flies up towards the comb, okay. This is because when combing, the comb gets an electric charge, okay, because you are continuously rubbing your comb with your hairs, due to which your comb gets an electric charge, and this electric charge is also called static electricity. And this charged comb, when you place near your hair, what you see is your hair will move towards the comb. Okay, this also you might have done is when you blow up some balloons and rub them against a sweater, what happens, the balloon gets charged while rubbing and they get an electric charge on them, and when you stick them on the wall, what happens, they will cling to the wall because they are having a charge. Okay, and one more example is given in your book is when you tear some tiny pieces of paper and you comb your hair, and then you bring this charged comb close to this tiny piece of paper, what will happen? Happen is this bits of paper will attract towards the comb. Okay, so this is due to the charged comb. So this force which is exerted by a charged body or on another charged or uncharged body, this force is called electrostatic force. This all three forces, electrostatic force, magnetic force and gravitational force, in all these three forces the contact of the two bodies is not necessary. They can apply the force on each other without coming in contact with each other, without touching in with each other. That is why these three forces are non-contact forces. Now we will study about contact forces. Contact forces are the forces in which two bodies need to be in contact with each other. The first is muscular force. As the name suggests, muscular force is the force exerted by the muscles of our body. Like when you kick a football, what happens? You apply force using the muscles of your leg. So your leg and football needs to be touching each other, needs to be in contact with each other. You cannot kick a football by just placing your leg near the football. You need to touch the football. So it is a contact force. Okay. Also, an oxen uses muscular force to pull a bullock cart. Camel uses muscular forces to carry people and loads across the desert. So all the animals and men uses muscular force to lift an object, to drag an object and for various other activities. Now the second type of contact force is the force of friction or frictional force. A force of friction is the force which opposes the motion of an object over a surface. What happens when you roll a ball on the ground? What happens is it gradually slows down and comes to rest. Why? This is due to the force of friction. When the ball is rolled over the ground, so they are touching each other, the ground and the ball, and while they are touching each other, a frictional force develops between the two, and this frictional force, the direction of this frictional force is opposite to the direction of motion, and so it opposes the direction of motion and gradually it stops the motion. Okay, that is why when we stop pedaling a bicycle, it gradually slows down and comes to stop. This is also due to the force of friction between the road and the tire. So what is frictional force? When the surface of one body moves over the other body, then a force is generated which opposes the motion of the two bodies, and this force is called frictional force. So frictional force is an opposing force which tends to slows down or stop an moving object. You will study about this later in your next chapter. Now, the third type of contact force given in your book is mechanical force. As the name suggests, the force exerted by a machine is called mechanical force. Okay, some machines like knives, scissors needs our hand, needs a muscular force to be operated. So it can come under type of muscular force as well. And some machines use electricity or some another energy form to run the machines. Okay. For example, a steam engine applies mechanical force to pull a train. So where does this steam engine derives its energy? It derives its energy from steam generated by the combustion of coal. Okay, when your fan is running, what energy your fan is using to move? This energy is this energy is coming from the electricity. So the force exerted by machine is called mechanical force. Okay, and it uses other energies to operate. So children, this is all about force. We have studied what is force, what are the cause and effects of force, and what are the types of force. I hope you all have understood till here. Please go through it in your book, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay? Take care. Bye bye.